Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reacting to a video called 29 times Americans show just how little they knew about the world by posting something really dumb online. The European mind couldn't comprehend what being number one is like. I'm a little scared like every time like this kind of like headlines like show up. I'm a little scared, not gonna lie. Hopefully it's not gonna be that bad. I don't know. Then let's check it out and comment, like and subscribe. So let's start. Hello, I think we could all use a little levity in our lives. Coincidentally, I recently stumbled upon the As Americans Say subreddit where people share screenshots of their most ignorant thing they've seen people in the US say about the world. And honestly, it's the best reprieve. Enjoy. I don't know if it's gonna be enjoyed. I don't know if it's gonna be enjoyed, but this person genuinely believes America is too big for public transport. Someone please tell that our train someone please tell that to our train and bus systems. America is too big for public transport. Nobody understands that. England is tiny. France is tiny. All nations in Europe are tiny. So public transit makes sense. Nobody seems to understand just how far people drive just to work, church, school, etc. In Europe, traveling more than 10 kilometers for a commute probably doesn't happen much. In America, a lot of people drive 30 minutes plus an hour for work alone. You know, to the last point, like, oh, they have to drive a lot. Yeah, why their commute? I understand, like, yes, probably, you know, the distances in the US are just larger in general because that's the way that sadly, like, the cities are built that way. But I think if you have a good train, like trains go faster than cars, so a good train system, it wouldn't take you like 30 minutes or it wouldn't take you 1 hour. It probably like you're gonna have that sort of like that commute just because of like trains are just faster in general. But it's funny that they're just like, oh, America's like way too big. Yes, United States, it is a really big country. I will not argue that. However, like, you know, Europe is, it's a continent, it's huge, so you know, it's like, yeah, that's not a right comparison. And I don't think anyone has ever called France tiny. France is not tiny. What are you comparing? And not all nations in Europe are tiny, so no, absolutely not. Okay, this person thinks free will only exists in the US. Yeah, we have free will, brother. Everybody has free will. What? Not Europeans, they don't have it. They don't believe Europeans have free will? What? I'm trying to, like, what did they come up with, like, with this wild, like, what? They don't have it. And maybe they think it's something else. I don't think they know what free will is. Maybe they're not aware of the concept. Maybe they're just confusing it with something else. This person thinks servers love the tipping system. I'm not sure where they've been in the last, like, 10 plus years. Tipping only seems to occur in the USA because your employers are paying you less than what's humane. Since the 80s, I've always thought of America as a third world country, propped up with bright lights and big sounds to appear as not, but it's poverty infested. Okay, servers love the tipping system. They are the ones who keep it in place. It sounds like you're just not that knowledgeable about what's really going on. Yeah, ask any, like, of course they like it because it's the way they make a living. It's like, yes, because I earn minimum wage, of course, like, after, like, the tipping system, it's the only way I can make a living. It's crazy, yes, of course. Tipping, I think it's very, like, actually, I have to say, it took me, like, some time to actually understand because I thought, you know, earlier on, probably in my life, I thought, oh, servers, like, again, it's like, it's nice, tipping is nice. It's like, no, once you grow up and you are an adult and you realize how much, like, people get paid, you're like, oh, tips are, like, because they can't live on, you know, the employers are not paying them enough and they have to, like, survive on tips. Otherwise, it wouldn't be feasible to have those jobs. So it's crazy. Pay people well, please. This person thinks WhatsApp it's assigned to third world countries despite its massive popularity around the globe. Do you use WhatsApp? No, I live in the first world country. It's kind of crazy. Oh, I think it's a tweet. Yeah, it's a tweet. It has so many likes, like 70,000 likes, which is, like, wild to me. I think compared probably to the rest of the world. Yes, of course, because I think it's the rest of the world probably, like, uses WhatsApp. I don't know the numbers, but probably all people, like, all over the world use WhatsApp. And the United States is probably the only country or one of the only, like, one of the fewer countries that doesn't use it. So if you look at the numbers, it's probably like I don't know how many millions users in the world, and then you have the US, and like, oh, it's like how many, like, because it use like iMessage, so it's sort of like, if you look at the number of people like that are using WhatsApp and compared to like what instant messaging sort of like service most Americans use, like it dwarfs them. So it's kind of crazy. This person would be shocked to know that a euro is worth more than than the US dollar. Bro, nobody uses euros. A dollar is probably 3 euros or something. A dollar is the strongest currency. Wow, no, that's so, like, not even that. I think even a pound, I think it's stronger than the dollar. Maybe I could be mistaken, but I think everyone knows that the euro is, I think you again, you get taught this at like a very early on, that euros they tend to be, like, from the history of time, it's worth a little more than a dollar. Like, it's not like a huge difference, but it's definitely a difference. It's not the same, and it's definitely worth more. I don't even know what to say here. Okay, today my daughter came home and told me that she was being taught Latin letters. This is evidence in how Latino people is invading this country. They will be soon teaching Spanish in school. Like, okay, again, like, I don't even know where to begin. Absolutely, because like, to begin with, how bad, like, oh, a second language, you know another language besides English? Oh no, how bad, how terrible. I think that's basic education in every school, in every country. They teach you a second language. Like, that's not a bad thing. Like, what's it a bad thing to learn another language? Again, all schools teach you this since you have like 3 years old. But second of all, they're being taught like Latin letters. They think Latin as in Latino. Yeah, yeah, sure, they come from the same like origin, but Latin letters are definitely not the same thing. I want to know how old the daughter is, and if the daughter actually corrected them, or maybe the daughter is like 5 and it's like, I can't correct my mom or dad or whatever, because I'm a small person, I'm a small child. But maybe like if hopefully when they're older they can like be like, wow, my parents are dumb. This person has no idea how commonly the metric system is used. Bro, did not have to do me like that. Okay, this is Chinese. Okay, putting your car in kilometers because you're ashamed of your speed is crazy. Or I live in Canada, you weird kid. Putting your car, because they think like the thing of like maybe the speedometer or something, like it's in kilometers. It's like, okay, and they're ashamed. Why should they be ashamed? Is it because like, oh yeah, because miles are faster than kilometers, so the number is like bigger, not faster, I know what it means, but it's just like, oh, when you're going, I don't know, like 100 kilometers is maybe like 300 miles, so you would think, oh, 300 miles is impressive, but you say, oh, for 100 kilometers, that's nothing, which I know, it's a lot, but maybe that's their logic. The bigger the number, like the bigger and the better it is, but people are, again, they're dumb. This person claimed the US is the most creative nation in the world and challenged people to name a revolutionary invention created outside of the United States. A simple answer, cars. I can name like 1,000 of things. What would the world be like without the USA? We are the most creative nation in the world. Tell me one invention any other country has made that revolutionized the world, like so many of them. Bro, like, America's awesome, but come on, man, you seriously can't be this dumb to make that last claim. You're seriously uneducated. Here's an easy one. Cars were invented in Germany. Insulin is from Canada. You could literally list thousands of things. Plus, anything invented more than 250 years ago was not invented by Americans. LOL. Yes, that was going to be my point. It's like, by nature, like, America is just in the new continent. So there's like so many inventions that came, like, they have like, not that have more history, but it's just like, they have obviously Europe and I think Asia as well. Like, they have like they invented so many things like paper, ink, the technology, or I don't know, just like things in general. It's just like so many technological things. It's kind of crazy to make that wild claim. This person thinks only Americans drink water, and if we don't all need water, as if we don't all need water to survive. Oh, because, okay, I get it. Only Americans drink water. Everyone else is coexisting in God knows what. I am starting a new business of importing American water to Europe to slowly introduce Europeans to the concept of drinking water. I'll call it TAP, which is short for true American pure water. It's like tap water. How will we tell the difference between your beer or your water? It won't work. American water is imperial. Ours is metric. European here love that idea. Just that we are waiting for our underdeveloped, probably like continent. What's up with the thing of like Europeans don't drink water? I know I've heard this before and I do not understand what it means. I don't know why there's like misconception of like they don't drink water. I do not understand. I don't know where it comes from. I'm so confused about it. I have no idea. This person thinks Europeans can't comprehend the concept of steak, eggs, and bacon. The European mind couldn't comprehend what being number one is like. Okay, eggs, bacon, and a steak. They cannot come. I would think like this person like would die if they saw like a traditional English breakfast with like beans and what else do they have? Like beans, eggs, sausages. I think there's like toast and do they have bacon as well? It's kind of like okay, it's crazy. Don't they also like in some places in the United Kingdom also have steak? Or maybe that's Australia for breakfast. It's kind of crazy. Again, took so many eggs here. This person claims Silicon Valley built the modern world and wonders why they shouldn't run it. Oh, like the modern world? My only response is imagine Zuckerberg running the world. Help. Silicon Valley built the modern world. Why shouldn't we run it? Oh, because he works at, this is scary. Like he's actually like asking this because he apparently works at Silicon Valley, which, yes, of course, a lot of like good inventions have made, and probably like I know it's like the technological sort of like spot and hub. So it's a good thing, but like the fact that this person has like thinks so highly of themselves, it's making me like no. Like if you were like in office, I wouldn't vote you. And if you were trying to like I don't know do a lobby for like being a president of like your company or something, I would not vote for you just because of this comment. It's like, why do you think so highly of yourself? This person said that all of Europe is dangerous, and honestly, that's probably for the best. I'm sure they don't like American tourists anyway. What country do you absolutely recommend avoiding in Europe during the summer? All of Europe. Too dangerous with all the riots, floods, earthquakes, typhoons, rebellions, thieves, and scammers. Also, dangerous foods without EPA labels and traffic is just suicide. Really, it's too dangerous. Stay in the US. Actually, this is kind of like funny. It wouldn't surprise me if this was. It's not an American person like writing this comment. It's probably a European that's tired of like all tourists like ruin like their summer because they're standing in the way or they're being entitled, they're being rude or whatever. So I think maybe this person like wrote this like, no, too dangerous, too many things. Like stay there, stay there. No, it's awful over there. And it's like written from like I don't know Berlin. It's like I don't like tourists. So it's like, please stay over there. It sucks. It's so funny that also like they mention like a lot of things that I can like equally, it could happen like in the United States as well. It's like, anyway, maybe, yeah, of course we have scammers. We don't think like the US has scammers. Like this is crazy. These two Americans just got in an argument over the stupidest thing. Americans have literally no banter. I don't know what country this is coming from, but we've probably been doing a war at some point. I'm American. Civil War, the Civil War, which is obviously between two regions of the United States. That's crazy. They're like, when they're gonna call them like Yankee, go home. Like, what is this? Shut up. This person tried to make fun of someone for misusing a word, while literally using a word not acknowledged by dictionaries. The person that designed this must be an absolute menace. What even is this? I don't even understand what is this. You learned words but do not know when and where to use them. You're the one using made up words. Learned, LOL, and you're trying to shame another. You're okay, and actually like you're as in you're the pronoun and not as in you are. Okay, nightmare fuel. Goodbye. This person can't convert Celsius to Fahrenheit. Global temperatures right now. Use American numbers. I love the fact that it's just like American numbers. And it's actually quite funny because your phone, like you can just, again, look it up at anyone's phone. Like even if you have like a really bad phone, an old phone, you have access to internet. Just like Google the conversion. It's like, no, they think the whole world revolves around them. So it's like, speak American, basically. This person thinks currency in all other countries is basically monopoly money. Not every country in the world uses USD as its currency. 800 USD would be more than 1 million Korean won, for example. Oh, I get it. Because he's this stupid, he has to be American. Yeah, that tracks. Otherwise, why bring USD into it? Nobody cares about monopoly money, so stop talking about worthless currencies. LOL. They also believe, I think, that yes, the US has like, oh, the US dollar is like the strongest sort of like currency in the world, which is like, well, maybe to you because you live in the US, I guess. But obviously ask like a Chinese person, or maybe, I don't know, ask someone that uses the pound. They're going to be like, yes, the pound is the most important. And just because I use it, so, maybe that's the other way I could like look at it like that. But it's like, it's monopoly money. Nobody cares. It's like, sure. This person bragged about living in the US, a place they think they can openly criticize their government without being arrested. Who's gonna tell them? Why don't they criticize their own government? Oh wait, they'll be arrested, right? Okay. This person thought the symbol for US currency was universal for money. So you paid in dollars, euros. I hadn't thought of that. What is the symbol for euros? I thought dollars was universal for money. Oh, okay, like the sign, as in like the sign. They don't know there's like a euro, and they don't know there's like a pound, and they don't know like, oh my god. This is a good, I don't know, maybe an innocent mistake. I think it's like quite sweet of them. They're kind of silly, but sweet, maybe. This person referred to a building built circa 200 BC as a copy of a fort in Florida. As stating in a country founded a few hundred years ago. It is a copy of a fort on Key West, Florida. If it's from year 2200 BC, then the one in Florida is the copy, as Florida was a swamp back then. Okay, Jesus, scratch that. I don't even know what this is. It's just like, it looks like, well, whatever's a fort, but it's like Florida. Probably, maybe they're Florida man does things. It would be very funny if they weren't even like Floridians, but they have a reputation. This car owner. Okay, there's like, women, Trump, leave my heritage alone. Dixie, oh yeah, they're from the South. Okay, secede, yes, they wish they won like the Civil War. Secede, there's like so many things. Okay, there's like, yes, there's a flag. Let's go, Brandon. Who's Brandon? They have like, okay, the Union flag or whatever. Okay, this is a nightmare. Like I wouldn't want to know like this person because, it makes me scared. This person said people living in New York and Arizona who literally speak the same language, use the same currency, have the same political history, are as different as those who live in Iceland and Germany. I don't think the Euros realize, the Europeans realize that the difference between somewhere like Arizona and New York is similar to the difference between Iceland and Germany. Distance and cultural-wise, these guys are taking the worst aspects of every state and thinking we all share these traits. It's like, yes, again, the US is a pretty big country and every state has its own like cultural like discrepancies and things and obviously customs, but like every state in the world has this. Like Germany is very different, like a place, I don't know, East Germany is very different from West Germany. The northern part of Germany is incredibly different from the south. So like they're just like, again, it's kind of like silly to think in Iceland it's the same. Like, yes, this stuff is different over there between, like, it varies depending on the state. So it's kind of crazy. Well, I don't know if Iceland has states, but whatever, regions. It is kind of crazy of them to think that even if it were true, like, because it is true. Yes, of course, every state and every region in every country has its own little things and particularities and like cultural like differences that make it apart from other regions in that same country. But it's like, that's the case with America, and that's the case for basically every single other country in the world. So it's like, why would it be special? Like, it's the same. This person thinks TikTok, whose parent company is based in China, was made for Americans. 2000 Fahrenheit is 1093 Celsius for the ones wondering. Doing God's work for us Europeans right now. Why are you all on American TikTok? Kind of weird. They're all on American TikTok. They're going to have the shock of their lives when they realize everyone like uses TikTok, not just Americans. That's crazy. This person genuinely believes worker strikes are mainly really an American thing. Clearly, they're not familiar with France games. Yeah, France's game. Yes, I know that France is constantly like, they're protests all the time. Like, those people are constantly like getting out in the streets and like lighting things on fire, and they are constantly they're rioting all the time. Sorry, English is not my mother language. On strike, like a lightning strike or something, not working until someone changes, mainly really an American thing, but it happens all over the world. Strikes work best if you can get many employed workers to protest with you. Yes, like unions, but they made me think like unions are also an American thing. It's kind of like crazy. It's just like, oh, they're an American thing. They believe like strikes is just like, it's not a universal concept. It's just something that Americans do. Okay, sure. Moving on. This person seriously said every significant cultural item comes from the US and I need them to get out more. How could the rest of the world not be obsessed with us? Hollywood, music, games, sports, Google, Apple, Amazon, Tesla, Facebook, Nike, every significant cultural item comes from the US. They can't help it. It's like, oh, you're so jealous of us. Sure, like a lot of, again, the United States is a huge country, as in like culturally, a lot of, like it influences a lot of places, and you know, their sort of like impact in the culture in general all over the world, it's pretty big, cannot be actually like overstated. But that doesn't mean that every single thing, like, no, countries have their own culture, and news, it's gonna be news to you, a culture shock, if you get out and to realize, no, America's not like the center of the world. There's like other cultures and other places that are gonna be more important. For context, the person commented on a video where someone in London ordered chips. Why did he give you fries? This is funny because it's like, yes, I actually do not like, because this is like, I don't know if how dumb this is. I don't know if actually I would call this dumb. It's just ignorant because, well, ignorant isn't like, oh, I didn't, actually, I'm ignorant as well. I was like, oh, I know it's like hard for me to actually imagine a chip, like when someone says a British like chip, it's hard for me to actually understand, oh yeah, it's a fry. And only when I see it is that I remember, oh right, for them it's fries. But I think for me, it's constantly like, yeah, to me a chip is like something that comes in a bag. It's like a potato chip and it's just like fried, but it comes in a bag because otherwise it's fries. But it's like, I know the concept. I obviously know this. However, I tend to forget about this until I actually see it. And it's like, oh, whoa, it turns me off for 1 second. And then I remember they call it chips. Yes, it's like fish and chips are not chips, as in like in a bag. They are talking about fries. So I give them like, again, it's like I give them the benefit of doubt. They're not dumb. They just do not know that. And they don't have to actually, I think. Maybe it's because I relate, so maybe that's why I'm giving them a little leeway. This person thinks U.S. citizens should never be embarrassed to live in the USA, and I'm embarrassed just reading through this list. It's okay. It wasn't this. Okay, Trump is a disgraceful bully. I am embarrassed to be American. No matter who's in office, you should never be embarrassed to live in the USA. I think like you can make an argument. I don't think this is what they mean, but I think you can make an argument for not being ashamed because a country, it's not their the person who's in like on office at this time and period, because obviously usually like governments, are temporary. Maybe they have 2 terms, but eventually like they're out. So I get maybe I can see why you would say, oh, you shouldn't be embarrassed, because it's like you're talking about like you're embarrassed for the people in office, but they'll go away and the country will remain. So it's more like the difference between like state and government. However, I don't think they mean this. So, but I mean, and it's fine. You can be embarrassed to like not be, well, yeah, maybe, I don't know. Who are you to tell someone like how to feel? I don't know. This person decided that the US has the authority to decide what people of other nationalities and ethnicities can call themselves. To be honest, you're whatever America decides you are. So Spanish is Latino now. They're literally in different continents. It's like, and I know, the whole like Latino comes from Latin. It's a Latin thing, whatever it isn't. They're not talking about that. They're talking about like Hispanic. That's what they mean. Latino means Hispanic, America, South America, and it's not Central America. And it's like Spanish isn't another, it's Europe. So it's just because of the language. I think because, they speak the same language and they're they think it's the same thing, which is crazy. I think for like Spanish, both Spanish and Latinos should start like, not the UK, like British people are not at fault. They should start confusing Americans with British and say like, oh, you guys speak the same language, so I just thought that you're the same thing. Right? Like it should be, it's like what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I would say that's, yeah, sure, because you speak the same language. They would be offended, right? They would be like, no, it's not the same. We were colonized. Well, guess what? The others were colonized as well. This clearly stubborn and confused being. It is Iran, not Iran. Oh, it's Iran, not Iran. I read the other way. Yes, it's Iran, not Iran. Correct, because the actual, they think in America, like, they call it Iran, and it's not Iran, it's Iran, and that's the proper, like, that's the right term to refer to that country. And finally, this person who thinks that only the U.S. allows its citizens the right to free speech. Freedom of speech isn't a human right. It's an American right. No other country has this in the world. Wow. Okay. What's the most ignorant thing you've ever heard someone from the US say? Let us know in the comments. Okay. So this was wild. I don't know which one was most surprising to me. I think the last one's kind of like, it's going to take me a little to process, because I think, like, I'm trying to think of, like, why would you think this? I think it's because, like, they're drilled, like, oh, the United States, freedom, it's one of those, like, core, like, the tenets of, like, the United States. They really do make a lot of emphasis on freedom, and, everyone can be free, and, American land of the brave and the free. So maybe that's why they think that freedom of speech is a uniquely and, like, an American thing. However, I would say, well, yes, of course, it is a core concept that's very important, for the whole, like, the American mind. But what would you think no other countries, and it's not, they literally said, it's not a human right. Wow, it's not a human right. Okay, then, wondering what other things do they believe are not human rights? Because do they think, I don't know, like the right to healthcare? I don't know, it's kind of crazy to think that way, and, like, not to get into it, but, like, again, like, universal, like, healthcare, or I don't know, like, other things, like the right to water, for instance, drinking water. Like, do they think that's only in the United States? That's crazy. The only ones that I give them a little bit more leeway are the ones, like, the one that was Iran. Maybe, like, do not come from a place who's like, oh, you're wrong. It's not Iran. Maybe, no, again, a good way, and I always mention this, is like a good way to actually learn, the right, just, like, learn in general, is to realize the gaps in your, oh, I do not know this. So the first step towards, like, actual learning something is admitting or realizing, hey, you're wrong about this. So on one hand, it's like, it's good. Now again, you have to let them know, no, you're wrong. Like, it's not the way the country is pronounced. Oh, okay, well, thank you, now I know, and great, I will not make that mistake again. So maybe, again, I can give them, like, a little bit, like, yes, and maybe the chips as well, because they didn't, I'm stuck in the chip thing. It shouldn't be, like, maybe I didn't know, because to me, it's a potato, like, chip. So, I can give them, like, those I understand, and maybe I can, like, give them, yes, of course, it doesn't mean that you're dumb. It's just, you're a little, like, again, you just don't know. As a lot of things that, you can maybe, like, say some things that British people do not know about the United States, or just Canadians or something. I think this is more like in Europe. But just in general, like, those are, like, good. Those are, I can maybe say, like, well, maybe they're not that dumb. Or they don't deserve, like, to be called dumb. But there's just, like, 5 or maybe, like, 3 out of, like, 29, which is, crazy. People, again, are just being very conceited about this, and I can't even play it out. I was like, oh, I think it's a joke. No, a lot of these things are like, a lot of these people, at least the comments, they look serious, which is like, wow, I'm a little scared, like, of your life. If that's really how you think, that's the concept, and that's probably, I think, the cliche bad American, like, people talk about people, when people actually refer to that stereotype, they mean this. Those are examples. So great examples for what you mean when you say a dumb American, or, like, the cliche of, like, this dumb ignorant American who's really into, like, yeah, America, like, the greatest country in the world, and everyone else is like, they don't really see, like, other things and beyond sort of, like, their own backyard. Is this. So great example, I guess, bad for them, the rest of the world is like, oh my god, you guys suck. And that was it for today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.